Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we will talk about the Holocaust, an horrible topic. I often hear people ask, why did the Nazis only start killing the Jews in the concentration camps, for example, in 1941 and not already when they came to power, which would make absolutely sense. This is very fair to ask, and there are actually a couple of points why they did it only that late already. I mean, they were already 8 years in power when they started actually killing them in masses. Well, the first point, and kind of an obvious point, is the consolidation of power. They first needed to go sure that everyone was behind them. And this was, for example, spreading massive propaganda against Jews and also kind of taking their wealth and taking their power inside of the country. So they needed to go sure that the Jews were already very weak and that most people didn't like them or even hated them, because how else could you justify killing them? There's some people saying that most people didn't know that the Jews were killed. This isn't point. We can't exactly say if the vast majority of people in Germany knew that the Jews get killed. I would say most people knew that they got transported into working camps and suffered there, but I'm not sure about if everyone knew, like, yeah, they are getting killed there. It is just clear, I would say, that they got transported and deported to a place where they had to suffer and where they had a horrible fate. Because first the Nazis exploited the Jews and made them basically weak and hated, and then they sent them to the concentration camps, etc., and killed them in masses. But another point that is mostly overseen is actually that the initial plan was not to kill them by themselves. Like, they didn't want to have these concentration camps and kill the Jews in there. But what did they want to achieve at the start? Well, the initial plan was to show the world how horrible the Jew is, because their plan was basically to gather support around the world to fight the Jewish threat for mankind. Yes, they thought if there are too many Jews in the world, the complete civilization would collapse, since Jews would only think of themselves, and as soon as no one else is there that they can exploit, they would fight each other to death. So hence Nazis thought, if there are only Jews in the world, which is basically their target, they want to kill and get rid of the other people, then the world and the whole civilization would collapse and end. So the initial plan was to send Jews to Madagascar to live on that island. Yes, it is a very big island, but still, would there be enough space for millions of them, millions of Jews? When they would all live there, they basically would start maybe to even kill each other for food, etc., would attack each other, would live in groups, and would kind of live primitive. And this is really what the plan of the Nazis was. They knew that, so they thought, hey, if we send them there and can show the world how bad the Jew is, that they would not support each other, but basically kill each other in order to survive, this would show the world that they are really bad and that they have all to get rid of them. However, this plan did not work out. Why did it not work out? It was the war. War broke out, and with Madagascar being in French hands, it was already impossible basically to get the Jews even there. So this was really the failure of this whole plan. Then there was like a conference where people said like, yeah, we should do that with them, because they really didn't know what should we do now with the Jewish question, the Jewish problem. In the end, they decided to use their labor and basically make them work for the Nazis in camps. And the final solution is to kill them all in camps, starve them to death, or kill them their own, in many ways. So these horrors were all to be prevented actually by the Nazis. They wanted to let the Jews do the job for themselves. But since that didn't work, they had to do it themselves. And this is why it actually only started in 1941, because the Nazis had to prepare the Madagascar plan. This failed through the war, so they had to come up with a new plan, with another plan to get rid of them. And this was the final solution, and the killing of millions of Jews in the Holocaust. As sad as this topic is, with millions of lives lost, I still hope you could learn something and enjoy the video. I hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and ask me. I hope you have a nice day and see you soon.